All right, now we've got here two Mitsubishis, and you probably think, what are we doing testing one Mitsubishi against another? Well, this is a Pajero Sport, and this is a Pajero. The big thing here is this has now got 7 seats, whereas previously only had 5 seats. Of course, this has always been a 7-seater. In the long term, Mitsubishi said they're not going to replace this car. When this runs out, that's the end. So this is going to become effectively the default Pajero and take over where that's left off. These two cars are completely technically different. This is based on a Triton, got a separate chassis, live axle at the back. That's a monocoque, fully independent suspension. What we're doing today is going to drive them back to back, do some off-road and see how they compare to each other and see if this is going to be able to take over where that's left off. All right, we're driving the Pajero Sport here. In its previous iteration, this car was called a Challenger, but Mitsubishi have adopted the Pajero Sport name, which has been used overseas for a while. Like the Challenger, this is based on the Triton, in this case the new Triton that came out in 2015. It's got the Triton engine, which is a new 2.4 litre diesel, Euro 5 compliant, nice and quiet, feels refined as most modern diesels do. Lacks a little bit of bottom end grunt, but once it gets going, it's good. Big difference between the Triton is where the Triton has a 5-speed auto, this has an 8-speed auto, which helps pick up the bottom end a bit more quickly. For a car in this class, it does feel small in the cabin, even though it now seats 7 people. Previously only had 5 seats, but you know, as a 7-seater, it's still pretty tight. A bit tight up front here for a taller driver with this wide centre console. You're cramped in on your legs a little bit. Not too bad for a smaller driver, but as I said, not the best for a taller driver. We're driving the Pajero here. Now this car basically dates back 16 odd years to, or 17 years to 1999. It's launched overseas, 2000 in Australia, and it's been updated since then. The engine's had quite a few revisions, and there's been some chassis revisions with the addition of stability control and traction control. But the unique thing about this old Pajero, and I call it old because it's been around for quite a long time, is it's a monocoque. And it's got fully independent suspension, which so it's very un-four-wheel drive-like in that way. And Mitsubishi, when they bought it out, really broke all the rules, designed the thing from the ground up. Used a lot of their experience from the Paris-Dakar Rally. At that time, they were very successful there. And you can actually feel the way this car drives. It feels really tight. It's got beautiful steering, very sporty. You know, it's quite big and heavy. It's got a nice sporty, almost like a rally car feel about it. Once they added electronic traction control, it made it fairly reasonable off-road too, even though it doesn't have a lot of wheel travel. I mean, it will lift, you know, going over lumpy ground, so it lifts wheels left, right and centre, but it actually keeps progressing. In this company driving against the Pajero Sport, it feels a much bigger area, more roomy car, a lot better vision out of it. You don't feel sort of squeezed in like you do in the Pajero Sport. The engine's got plenty of performance, but it's a bit noisy. I mean, it's an older engine. It's a lot bigger than the Pajero Sport, which is 3.2 litres. The Pajero Sport's 2.4. It's got an old school 5-speed auto, and I say old school, it's been around for a while. It's not a bad auto, but it's nothing particularly good. It's not cutting edge anymore. But all in all, you'd have to say this car stood the test of time remarkably well. When you drive it, some aspects of it feel a bit old, but overall, as I said, it hasn't aged. It's stood the test of time very nicely. It's a pity that Mitsubishi can't see a way forward to keep on developing it and relaunch it and move on with it, but looks like it's going to go the way of the dinosaur.
Well, Fraser, we've been driving these two Pajeros around them. What do we think of the new one? Is it going to live up to the name?
I like the engine in this. Hasn't got much bottom end grunt, but once it gets going it's good. Mates nicely to the gearbox. Smooth, quiet, refined. Whereas that sort of feels like a bit of an old tech engine, but the space in this is the problem. What do you? You're a big bloke. What do you think? How do you fit in?
Yeah, I feel like this is a compact car, where this is a Pajero, like that Pajeros have always been. Nice and roomy, room for a big family. You could only ever live with a small family in this, and only not even teenagers in the third row.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that boxy shape of that, you know, while it's a bit old-fashioned, it's space efficient, you know. Whereas this more tapered thing just doesn't work, especially at the back.
No, that's taking sport too far, really.
Yeah, yeah. This engine and gearbox would be nicer than that.
Yeah, certainly would.
Yeah,
certainly would. That's got an old school feel about it. The 5-speed auto, not state of the art, but it gets along.
Yeah, yeah. It's still a good thing to drive, and it's particularly nice chassis-wise. But in terms of the dynamics and steering, it's particularly impressive, especially for an old car now.
We've always said it was revolutionary when it started. Came out with a monocoque and full independent.
Yep.
Still a good thing.
Yep. Stood the test of time, hasn't it? Really.
Yeah. Let's just hope Mitsubishi see some way they can keep it going.
Yep. Exactly.